I wanted to talk to you today about things that have been coming up this past week. We just launched and we did a great webinar. We partnered up with Forest Salon software, and we talked about or we shared what does it take today to really create a whole type of a new staff or new team. What do you need to do to build a completely reinvent your staff or your team, or if you're um, experimenting like a lot of people are experimenting right now, is short of people, whether a lot of them are not in working right now, or a lot of them decided that that's not what they want to do right now, or some just decided to maybe become independent, and that's totally okay. So I'm choosing to talk to you about what do you need to do in order to create a really good team effort or team structure in your salon, in your company. And so the three things that really holding us back from creating something really excited is the fact that we're all kind of like depleted of energy. Like there's a lot of us who are just kind of like driving on fumes, or walking on fumes, doing everything that we can possibly do. Before you even start about thinking about creating um, any kind of action that you need to take, the most important thing is to allow yourself to have the time to make those decisions. And today I had a coaching call regarding creating the time to make decision, to make a really good decision. And what we have found is that in so many times when we make decision, we are not in the right space to make decision. And so what happened is we create some sort of a thought behind the fact that why do we need to make that decision? And most of the time, it's because we are worried about something. And we come into a crossroad that we need to make a decision. So what does it take to really make a good decision? So first, we have to allow ourselves the space to make a decision. In any case, if we're going to be as salon owners and we are engaged within working from behind the chair, and we are engaged of working with our clients, and we're engaged of um, you know supporting our staff and doing so many things on every day, we absolutely come to a place where we are so overwhelmed. And taking all the emotions around us and making sure that we create a really positive energy around us is very difficult to do. Since we got back to working, all we have been doing is working like chickens with no head. How can we create more order in our life and create more space so we can make really good decisions? Because no matter what, if we want to now invest in a very powerful asset, which is building a very good team, especially now, we really have to create that space. And what does that mean? How do we take that actions? Or what do we create as motivation to take that actions? If you put in front of you the reason why you need to make a decision, already that becomes a number one motivation. So if your decision was, I need to build a new staff, or I need to build a really strong staff, why? Why do you need to do it? So the first thing you want to ask is, why do I need to do it? What's the reason? So if I took, for example, the reason of I want to create a stronger staff and larger staff because I want to scale. I don't want to have the company rely on my income from behind the chair to support everybody. You want to make sure that your staff is building a company that runs not only on your production behind the chair. As a matter of fact, if you can take the production behind the chair, let's say, for example, you look for the amount of income that you bring in. What is the revenue? If you bring a revenue in a month of $10,000, right, for a month, that is your total sales. What portion out of is it out of the total revenue of your company in the production in services? What part of it is it? 20%? Is it 30%? Is it 40% of the revenue? And now back it up. Now create a workflow that will allow you to take that 30% of income to total sales, to take that $10,000, and how can you make sure that your team is providing this so you don't rely on your income? So maybe if you choose at one point not to work from behind the chest, which I hope that you will, and you're going to be leading your company as the CEO of your company, you're going to step one step ahead or one step aside or one day from behind the chair and move slowly to working maybe one day or not at all from behind the chair. How do you do it? By knowing that $10,000 is what you need to make sure you grow revenue in the productivity of your other staff. So if this is the reason that we're working it, then it's a great motivator. It's a positive motivator. And since positive change and what we're looking to do is what motivate people to do things. For example, and I'll give you an example. If you saw a kid that has a cigarette, like somebody who's 6 years old or 12 years old, and they're smoking cigarette, normally what you would tell them, hey, listen, cigarettes are really bad for you. If you're going to smoke, you're going to get lung cancer, right? So that's a very negative view of what's going to happen if you did stop to do that. So that will be a great motivation because we are motivated by positive outcome. We want to get positive information, something that means something really good to us, right? So, for example, if you approach the kid with a cigarette and say, hey, if you are smoking the cigarette, just so you know, you might not be able to play football. And football is so incredible because you love football. Football players, top most successful football players, they eat well, they don't smoke, and they don't drink. Now the outcome is positive. I want to play football and I want to be really great, so I don't need to smoke cigarette. So what you did is you attached the positive outcome of something that is not positive, and now you're bridging the gap how to get from one place to another. Same thing goes for our motivation, right? So right now, if we can take the motivation behind, I need to grow my company, I need to right now to tap into amazing amount of opportunities that are heading our way, which basically every day a lot of salons are shutting down, businesses are shutting down. The next few months, a lot of them are going to be shutting down. Now I'm giving you a fact of what's going to happen, right? Because history says that 70% salons close between the first and the 7 years, and that's before COVID. Now we're moving into a space where this is becoming actually on steroid. 95% out of the industry are either not going to make it or really struggle through the process to move to the other side. So if we want to be in the top 5% successful and very profitable with an ease, if I can say with an ease, not that it's going to be easy, we have the opportunity to go to tap into the market share and create a whole new staff and invite and recruit new great recruits out there and lead with a great motivation behind it. So in order to do that, we really have to allow space in your week to design the next recruiting. So in order to take an action, first what we got to do when we feel very, very overwhelmed, when there's a lot of things that are coming to us, the number one first, in order to make a really good decision and good action, we have to allow a space. So I'm challenging you, can you take 4 hours out of your week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and remove anything that you have on those 4 hours and only dedicate those 4 hours to build a great recruiting system? And we're going to talk about how to build recruiting system within the next few days. But first, before we do any of this, before I'm going to go into the details of the lessons, what I want you to do, and I'm challenging all of you, is to take an action. The action is clear half a day, maybe a full day, and let's do it as fast as we can, right? Because we want to be at the top 5% and we want to take advantage of what's going on right now in the market and what's going to happen in the next few months. So I want to prepare you guys for this, and we're going to talk about taking an action. And to take an action, the number one thing that we want to do is give ourselves motivation in order to do that. So how do we give us the positive motivation? to take an action is understand why we want to do it. What's the reason? So for anybody who's just joining me right now and watching this, we're talking about how do we create more revenue and more profitability. But in order to do that, we need space in our life. We got to make a decision. So the number one is get space in your week. Devote one day. And if you don't have the day right now, half a day to create the time to make decisions, actions, implement, and learn. So you can apply all the skills and all the new things that you need to do right now to create more revenue, more profitability, and more than anything is create more freedom in your time so you can lead better. So that was what we wanted to do. In order to be very creative in our decision, you got to make sure that we are really not overwhelmed and we are not worried and we're not concerned. So what I want to suggest to you is how do you create that inside of you? How do you become less overwhelmed? I love this exercise that we do many times with our customers is create a worry list. It's really incredible. So what you want to do, you want to take a page or a paper and fold it into two. And in the first page, you want to write down everything from the top to the down of what you're worried about. What are the things that you're afraid of? What is the decision? And name the decision. Maybe the name of the decision would be hiring a staff or letting go somebody or getting in touch with clients, not enough clients, or maybe you worry about financials. I'm worried about financials. So name that worry. What is it? And then start writing down everything from top to bottom of what are the things that you're really worried about and give them a name. Once you finish doing everything that you're actually worried about, then you want to flip it to the other side. And in the other side, what you want to do is take each and one of the titles of why you worry about or why you're concerned about that and write down on this side, what are you going to do or what can you do so you don't have to worry about it? That's it. That's all you got to do. The minute you finish this, you will see that now you have a plan that will prevent you from things to happen that actually you were worried about. And maybe you don't even have to worry about because they don't really exist. That's a great exercise to remove any overwhelm. And we'll talk more about overwhelm, and we'll talk more about the actions that we need to take and how you can build more revenue and more profitability in your company. Today, we really worked on how you make decision is by creating more space. Having the actions to do it is what is going to get you there. But how do you take actions if you're not motivated to take actions? Well, we went over it today. And so I'll see you within the next few days and we'll work on more tips.